Hi everybody, it's lovely to see so many people here at what is hopefully a really exciting opportunity for our children and young people here in Oldham. As Rich said, my name is Jodie Barber. For those who I don't know, I'm Head of Youth Service for Oldham Council, and I'm also Chair of the Strategic Youth Partnership. So in the style of Chris Whitty, next slide please, Rich. Before we go into the Youth Investment Fund, we'll have a musical interlude. I just wanted to use this opportunity to just give everybody a brief overview of the Strategic Youth Partnership. It's in its early infancy, and the Strategic Youth Partnership was set up to bring a more strategic approach to how we plan and deliver youth work and youth activity across Oldham, recognising that together we can all achieve so much more and meet the needs of our children and young people better. So it's a collaborative network and it's underpinned by 5 partnerships at a district level. Our ambition is that all organisations that provide youth work and youth activities for young people will become memberships of the partnerships and really enable us to move forward in Oldham in a really cooperative and collaborative way. So if you're not already linked into one of the district youth partnerships, please drop lynette.dobbin@oldham.gov.uk an email and we can link you in and get you part of that. So we're really excited to be hosting. This is our first Support the Sector event as a Strategic Youth Partnership, and we hope to do many, many more across the year to help us develop the work for our children and young people. I just want to kind of put a little caveat out there is that when it says meet the funder, we are not the funders at all. That's the government. What we're doing is trying to support across Oldham people accessing this funding. So we're not experts. We'll certainly try to support and answer any questions people have, but we just wanted to provide as many people as possible with an opportunity to find out as much as possible about the fund to be able to apply for it. And Action Together and the development officers are more than happy to support individual organisations with any applications going forward. So it's an information event, hopefully. It'll answer any questions or queries you've got. If it doesn't, we will work together to get answers to those as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Lucy, who's the Vice Chair of the Strategic Youth Partnership, and she's going to take us through a slide deck to give a bit more information about the Youth Investment Fund.
Thank you. So yeah, as Jodie said, we are absolutely no experts in this Youth Investment Fund, and we are in no way part of any of the process behind it. It was just very much, as Chief Exec at Mahdlo, I found out about this some time ago and I've been preparing our application, and we just thought it'd be great to just share some of what I've been reading and researching on, so that everyone in Oldham and Rochdale is prepared because it is going to be a quick turnaround funding pot. So I'll just brief, we'll have questions at the end, or you could drop them in the chat and we'll try to answer as best as we possibly can. But please remember that I haven't got all the answers, but I have got quite a bit of information that I've pulled together. So if I send it over to Rich, I'm sure he'll support in getting it out to you, so you want to refer back to the slides or some of the things that I will send it over. So in terms of the Youth Investment Fund, it's to create, expand and improve local youth facilities, and that's come from DCMS, so at central government level. They've selected children in need to distribute phase 1 of this funding. So as this funding compromises of £10 million for youth provision in left behind areas. So the left behind areas, there is a list, and Rochdale and Oldham are both eligible areas, and we'll go into that a little bit more. So in terms of Youth Investment Fund, what we're going to cover this afternoon is the criteria and eligibility, application process and turnaround. As I said, it's an extremely quick turnaround, is this one. Bids that might help Oldham stand out from the crowd, and how we can help each other, and any resources. So, you know, again, like we will be sending out the slide deck and some of the information that I've pulled together. I'll get that over to Rich and sent out. Oh, next slide, please. So in criteria and eligibility. So as I said, there is a list, and I can send you over the list of what they've called left behind areas. So it is based on deprivation. I'm not too sure how they've come up, what the methodology has been to select certain areas, but we're assuming that those that I've selected are on equal footing. So as I've said, Oldham and Rochdale are definitely on the list. I'd have to go back into it to check if Tameside, but I've not. It's not sprung out at me, but I'll double check when we get onto the questions. So the aim of the project really is to fund capital projects that create, expand or improve youth facilities. And again, I'll send out a list of what this covers, but just as a bit of a taster, things that they would cover for is anything to do with green energy and making your project more energy efficient. Things to do with in supporting young people's health and well-being, so that might be outdoor gym equipment is on the list, or you know, gardening improvements, so safe spaces for young people to do gardening, IT improvements, so they will fund website development, I believe, and you know, computers, laptops. They've talked about again expanding equipment to expand or enrich activities offered by providers like ourselves. So sports and activities equipment, kitchen equipment, landscaping. It might be that you've got a room that you've got an idea for a digital suite in there, all them types of things. Also, some things that they'll fund is anything to do with safeguarding, making young people feel safer. So whether that's you wanting CCTV installed, all that is covered under this project. They've also said that they will fund things like minibuses. So if you wanted a minibus, no, Jodie's interested perhaps in getting a couple of minibuses, you know, or conversions of underused spaces that you might just want to invest a little bit of capital funding into to really enhance what you've currently got. So this is not around new buildings or hiring out of spaces or anything like that. It's very much around that improvement. But again, I'll send you over the information. You can have a look through the list, or if you want to pick up the phone and speak to Jodie and myself, we'll be able to go through, and just if you want to run an idea by us, anything like that. So the idea in terms of what they will fund, what children in need are looking for, is around disadvantage and around positive change. So especially what's standing out when I've read through all the documents is health and well-being is absolutely you know, ringing bells there. Skills for work and employability and everyday life. There's also in there the female participation, and also supporting young people with additional needs and disability. That's some of the key things that they're looking for, and whereby we just with children in need, if you've ever been funded by them, it's quite where we as a network in Oldham, we like to talk about assets and, you know, what's positive in Oldham. Actually, for this application is to flip that, and actually what they're looking for is how you are going to support our most disadvantaged. So rather than doing what we normally do and talk about the, you know, the asset-based approach, it's flip that and talk about the issues that you want to address by having this work done. And they're looking to spend for applications, for no less than 5,000 and up to 50,000. So if you've got something in idea in mind, which is a couple of thousand, they do want no minimum than 5. They want to get this fund out quite quickly. And they have said, if you have got ideas that have come to equate to more than £50,000, as long as you can spend that money, they're not saying you can't submit an application, but if you can kind of get it between the two, it'll look more promising that you get the fund. The money, so as I said, it's a quick turnaround. It's a Children in Need portal. It's quite easy to use. They've not come out and said anything about word count, and they're quite clear on the questions in Children in Need portal. But usually it's around 1,200 words per section, so try and keep it quite succinct in your application. And Children in Need tend to ask quite specific questions, so again, keep your answer specific to the question. So a cut and paste job for this one won't cut the mustard, really. You've got to so if you're duplicating in many of the answers, they like to go through and have something really succinct. So make sure you're just answering that question and not going around the houses. So make it really clear. When the portal opens, and it's suspected it'll open on Monday, if not sooner, but everyone's kind of teeing up for Monday at the moment for the release of it. But keep an eye on it if you've got things ready to just go. The way in which they're going to be allocating the funds is on a first come first served basis. So the quicker you get it in, the more likely it has to be for your bid to be approved before the money runs out. If you are successful in your application, you'll find out within 12 days, and the money then has to be spent. So the money will have to leave your bank account by the 31st of March. We have gone back and spoke to, so through the onside network, we've gone and spoke to DCMS around to having funding from DCMS before. During lockdown, we got pot funding at Mahdlo. Money had to leave the bank account on the 31st, and everything had to be purchased and within the building, really. 2 weeks after that, they have said that with this is that activity can follow. So things that have lead time. So for instance, if you're wanting to get a minibus, you can't just pick, well, especially at the moment, you can't just go into pick one up. The lead time on new vans and equipment, due to the current climate, there is lead time. So they're going to be, they're aware of that, and they'll take that into consideration. But the main thing that they'll be looking for is around disadvantage and supporting young people, that you can spend the money, that you've got a plan for spending that money, and that it can quite quickly be put to use. The age range that they've chosen is 11 to 19 and up to the age of 25. Due diligence and equality, diversity and inclusion is incredibly important. So they just get this bit up, sorry. So due diligence is really important with this one. So if in terms of governance, organisations must either be a registered charity with the Charities Commission, not-for-profit companies, so registered with Companies House. Schools can apply, local authorities can apply where they have a youth service, of which Oldham and Rochdale do. Uniform organisations can apply, and you have to, as part of the, I'm guessing there's going to be quite a lot of uploads to this portal, where they'll be asking for your government documents, so whether that be your Companies House or Charities Commission certificate. They'll be asking for a dissolution clause or asset lock in place. So if you was to stop what you're doing tomorrow, what will happen with those assets? So that'll be charities, for Mahdlo, that is clearly in our Charities Commission document, governance document. Again, this is all in a research I've pulled together, so I'll be able to send that out to you as well, so you can quite clearly have a look and start preparing things ready to just upload onto that portal. They also will need, in terms of safeguarding, so you must have a safeguarding policy in place. This is for safeguarding for children and young people. If you do work with young people over the age of 18, a safeguarding vulnerable adults policy will also need to be seen. You can, for instance, at Mahdlo, we have our safeguarding children and young people's policy with support with a vulnerable adults section within that policy, and that will suffice as well. You must they'll probably ask around how often you do safeguarding refresher training, around best practice and on your policies and procedures. One of the things that quite a few funders are also asking for at the moment is around how you champion equality diversity within your organisation. So a lot of funders now are asking, you know, your ethnic makeup of the board or your senior leadership team. So I'm guessing, because there's quite a bit on the documents that they've put online on just in terms of information. So there will most probably be some sort of question around equality, diversity, inclusion, and why that's how you make sure that's important and fed into policies and procedures within your organisations. The first round of criteria will be the same as the second. So if you decide to put one fund application in for the first round, you won't then be prevented for going in for the second round. Also, if you're currently funded by Children in Need or DCMS, again, you're more than welcome to apply. It's not because you've already got funding from Children in Need you can't put in for this one. Next slide, please. So, as I said, Children in Need are the grant administrator. The guidance, so for the guidance that they've put, ignore the previous templates, so it won't be exactly the same as the Children in Need portals that you're used to, because they're working with DCMS and they've been selected, as I've said, so they'll be running that. The portal, like I said, will probably go up on Monday, on the 31st, if not sooner. So it could come out tomorrow. It's just for keep checking, and if you're all right with it, if Jodie and I spot it, it's come out. If we just get something out, because it'd be great if we could have lots of that, and lots of the funding, you know, coming through to Oldham to support young people and Rochdale. That would be great.
It's open, Lucy, by the looks of it. I've just had a double check now. You prompted me, and it looks like the applications are open now.
Right. Flipping it, right. Go. So
wait till the end of this briefing.
yeah. So it's open now. So again, you know, it's a first come first served basis. The Children in Need in DCMS want to get this funding out as soon as possible. So if it's open today and people are putting on and they're happy with that project, they will be first to know, and then they can get cracking on making their application a reality. Again, Children in Need I've done this slide on the last slide. Children in Need are always deliberate with the questions. So just watch your character count and be very specific and succinct in your answers for those particular questions. Assume, like I said earlier, left behind means a deficit-based approach. So rather than talking about the positives, talk about the issues that we're addressing by getting this funding in. The application, make it as clear as possible. Make sure it's measurable, it's realistic, and that it's young people focused. Children in Need, absolutely, as a funder, absolutely, I love young people's involvement. If you've already done consultation work with young people that you can put into this bid, absolutely, it's fantastic, and get it in. But with the tight turnaround, I think the funders will be well aware that the involvement of young people and such a quick turnaround fund isn't going to be like as you would do if you've got, you know, months and months on the lead up to get young people involved in them applications and project ideas. Next slide, please. Bids that might stand out from the crowd. If you they require reliable partners and that impact. So if you've got your or your governance documents, your safeguarding, that you can, you know, you're quite clear in what your like I said, you've got that operational plan, and you've got suppliers already lined up. I believe they don't need quotes in anymore. All sorts of quotes in now, but they don't need they're not asking for quotes, but they need the plan to know in terms of how much, so that they feel how much you can spend, so that they feel confident that money is going to leave your account on the 31st, and you know your suppliers are lined up, so that they feel confident in accepting your bid. Monitoring and evaluation correlates with expectation of quality. So in there more than likely will be monitoring evaluation questions, and how you're going to monitor that the spend is going to have that impact on young people, and improve or enhance the quality of what you can deliver. Like I said earlier, fancy. Like I said earlier, applications for anything to do with girls and young women, particularly our Asian girls and women, will stand out from the crowd, especially, and then also young people in terms of any groups working particularly with young people with additional needs, disability, young people experiencing poor mental health, and that's what we've kind of been reading between the lines when we're looking through that really will enhance and make sure it stands out from the crowd. Next slide, please. So how we can help each other and our resource. So there's a rapid turnaround, like Jodie just said. She's had a look at the portal's already live now. So if you have got any questions, we'll try and answer them on the chat. If not, but you know, please pick up the phone or send us an email, support in any way that we possibly can. The resources, so I'll send these through to Rich if Rich is okay to send them out. So there's the application process, which we've gone through, the Children in Need landing page, so the portal, the list of left behind areas, and the due diligence requirements, and also some frequently asked questions which might give a bit more information as well. So we'll get them sent round. Next slide, please, Rich. No, that's Rich. But yeah, so again, you know, we're not the funders. This is just from reading and preparing for an application, that we've put this together. But we have, you know, more than me and Jodie, more than Rich and Laura together, more than happy to support anyone that got any questions or anything. Please do help. The more we can get for Oldham's young people there and Rochdale, then the better. And thank you.
Just to stress, there is an offer of help from Action Together through the development team, who can support you looking at your application, looking at your eligibility. So please do, if you're thinking of applying, use that. And in the slide deck was an email address that you can email to Action Together to ask for that additional support and help from their team with your funding bid.